Hi, welcome to Insecurity Dices. We slice our way to society's unrealistic beauty standards. How can I help you today? What brings you here? Well, I mean, there's some things about myself that I'd like to fix, yeah. Okay. Is there something that's been giving you pain? Because you know that we can work on a doctor's referral, we can get your insurance involved. Have you been in an accident recently? Or is there some sort of situation that you were born with a birth defect that's been causing you issues? Because if that's the case, then we can always get insurance involved and like help you actually get your life back to normal. No? None of the above for me. Or were you born with something that you just want to be able to get fixed? I mean, like, I see those fun bags there. We can reduce them, but don't worry though. We'll make sure that there's enough of a handful that you're still attractive, okay? Oh no. Were you personally victimized by one of those TikTok plastic surgeons? Ugh, we're seeing so many people because of them. No? I don't think so. It's just a matter of time. It's happening to everyone these days, famous or not. Nobody's safe. It could happen to you. Anyway, what brings you here today? Well, I don't like my nose and I was at a deviated septum. We dealt with so many of those in the 90s. A lot of the times though, it wasn't actually because of that. But if you do have a deviated septum, it is a legitimate reason for a rhinoplasty. No, I don't have a deviated septum. I just don't really like what I see in the mirror. And what did you call them? Fun bags? Yeah, to stay monetized, I know, sorry. Surprisingly, that phrasing's okay. Okay. The cameras? Anyway, so I just brought in some pictures. Oh, thank you. This is just an Instagram filter on your face. And so is this one. These people I'm very familiar with though. Okay, don't worry, I'm picking up on your vibe. It looks like you're angling for what we've curated to be one of our Instagram packages. We have a number of them. We've been building them ever since 2014 because they've just been skyrocketing in popularity. I do just have to tell you though, we are in the process of updating the Kim Kardashian one. This one shows that the BBL is in there. We've removed that now because it seems that people actually want to be white instead, which is totally fine as opposed to this whole mixed race thing. Remember how that was happening in 2018? Wasn't it fun? It wasn't so much fun for us. People always underestimated the recovery time of that. So many losses. Wait, what? Never mind, sorry, it's just a little bit of a memory trigger there. Anyway, getting back to these packages, which one do you like the look of? As you can see, the fox eye trend is what people are calling it. That's still very much in fashion. That angle of cultural appropriation, still popular. And of course, don't worry, we've got the botox, the filler people, we've got everyone on hand for you to be able to complete the look. Do you think that I need that? No, nothing like that. I'm just trying to garner from you what you want because there's nothing medically wrong with you. And so far, all you've told me is that you don't like the way you look. See, this is why I say that therapy should be done before people actually come to these sessions, and it should be one of our prerequisites, but apparently that would make our shares of Meta go down, and I don't really want that either. I'm sorry, sir, but for this part of the consultation, we actually like to just be one-on-one with the patient. Do you mind just waiting outside the door? There we go. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, bye-bye. Okay. You don't have to say anything, but blink twice if you're being forced into this. No, it's not them. I want this. Yeah. Okay? I'm convinced. So what do you want? Because I can't make you look like this filter. I mean, sure, I can make your nose a bit smaller, but it actually suits your bone structure as is, and you don't even have one of those Disney villain bumps because, yeah, we're still dealing with the anti-Semitic issues around that. Well, what a lasting legacy, am I right? But you don't have one of those. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what it is you want to get done because I can't make this happen. Now, your fun bags we can help with, but you will have to come back here in about 10 to 15 years to have it redone, and also, sorry to tell you that you will need to have a bit longer off for recovery at that point, but I guess we could give you our old crone facelift and filler package at that point because at that point you'll be at 45 and my goodness, we know that no one is relevant at that age if you're a woman then, so that could be a good time. Do you want me to even pencil that in now? Could that be helpful for you? I hadn't really thought of that, but like, I guess I don't like the droopy look. Nobody likes the droopy look. We're not used to seeing it anymore unless you're poor. Which you're not, of course. That's why you're here, right? Well, technically no. I mean, like, I haven't really been eating much for like well over a year, and I've just been like saying no to basically everything and trying not to even drive anywhere and just basically saying no to everything so I can finally get this stuff done to like hopefully finally feel good about myself. And you didn't go to therapy first? Sorry, you're sounding really judgmental right now. My apologies. Go away, morals. Yuck, we don't need that here. So why don't we get you started with the Instagram Lite package, this one right here. That's what you want, right? I mean, yeah, I want to feel better about the way that I look. So this is what you want. It's not just because you've been made to feel bad by some apps. I mean, I guess that's part of it. I've just always felt bad about how I look. So you want to feel good about the way that you look. Okay, this will just make me a lot of money afterwards when you come for another surgery after another one because you'll fixate on something else. Wait, does that really happen? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do this and then we'll book in for a session when you're 45 for the old Chrome package, just to lift everything back up to make sure you're nice and relevant. But at that point you will need about 3 months recovery to make sure you can fully recover from all of the things we're going to do to you to make you actually socially acceptable. So just make sure you've got a really good job by then, okay? Because you're going to need a lot of money. And don't forget all of the upkeep sessions in between. Is it really worse recovering when you get older? Like, how much will I need to save? You'll survive, don't worry. I mean, hopefully, I can't guarantee anything. And we haven't even talked about those chompers yet, my goodness. My teeth. Yes, look at this mirror. See how your teeth aren't even white? We should really start looking down this path if this is the path that you're going down. But I watched Tiffany Ferg's teeth video. Luxury bones are important to take care of as well. Do you think Tom Cruise would have turned into the heartthrob he did if he hadn't had that work done? Do you even remember Legend? Nobody saw that. Absolutely nobody, despite it being marvelous. So I need to get veneers? I'm not saying you need to get anything done. This is just the normal course of action as people go down this path. I always feel like this is building my insecurities. Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to. We actually do want to make sure that people feel better about themselves, and that's why we're actually working on people's insecurities to give them more empowerment at life, because that's why they come here, of course. I would honestly be blaming that little brick in your hand for giving you insecurities as opposed to us doing it. Because, of course, this is what you wanted, right? Because you punished yourself for a very long time in order to be able to do this. So this is definitely what you want, not you succumbing to some sort of insecurities within yourself, right? I mean, yes, but I also want your professional opinion. Now, my professional opinion is to meet your expectations without giving you unrealistic standards, making sure that you actually know exactly what's coming up, the options that we have for you, and what can realistically be done to achieve what you want. None of what I'm saying should impact the way that you're deciding things, except for giving you my surgical skills and evidence of all the things I've been able to do. This should all come down to what you want, without any external pressure, without me pressuring you, anything like that. As long as this truly is what you want, I'm happy to help you down this path that insecurity dices. Of course, you can take some time to think about it. This is a no pressure zone. It's just as soon as you leave this place and head outside, you'll be bombarded with billboards, and then you'll get all your notifications on your phone and everyone looking amazing, all these pictures that are totally not photoshopped, of course not. And just this ever-present feeling that you're aging day by day, and then you won't be desirable to your partner anymore, and then all of those other issues. But that's not me doing it. I'm just helping you reach your empowerment, because that's what this is about, right? This is empowerment. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. Now look, I'm not the first person to make a video about plastic surgery. It's been talked about many times by many different people, pro, against, all sorts. But I've always felt like there's been something sort of missing, because for me personally, my body dysmorphia got so bad that I actually got on a plane in 2015 to go to Thailand in order to like cut my body up, because I felt that bad about it. And weirdly, I felt really ashamed to talk about it, because it definitely wasn't done for positive reasons in my case at all. It can be, we'll get to that. But it's like, I actually just wanted to be able to make this video for you today, because hopefully this will help you, because that was 7 years ago and I've done a lot of work since that time. So that's why I'm making this video today. And also in the polls, you actually really wanted it. And also I wanted to say a special thank you to all of the like 100 odd people in my Instagram who actually like replied and gave me like such good feedback. You participated in the polls. If you don't follow me on Instagram, that's kind of how this parasocial weird relationship thing works. Check it out, it's always linked down below. Reach out to me via that, because I'm not really on any of the social media platforms, sorry. And no, obviously the participation in those polls and questions and stuff, they'll all be very skewed. This is not scientific at all, because obviously the people that would have engaged with that are my most engaged audience. So you'd anticipate people would be far more aligned with like my messaging and like the way that I think anyway. So I'm not taking that as like, this is how everyone thinks. It's just a select group of people, and it was very interesting and also heartwarming to actually see the way that people responded. The legitimacy of surgery. None of this video is meant to shame people who have been under the knife or needle. There are various different reasons that people actually go for these procedures and surgeries. A lot of the reasons that plastic surgery even got to be more common and more advanced is because of all of these poor soldiers coming back home after fighting in multiple wars and coming back covered in scars, missing whole chunks of their bodies, and so plastic surgery helped them deal with the PTSD from the literal scars on their body from the traumatic experiences. Like in 1962 the first breast augmentation happened, and then we've just been on this travelling journey which has gotten us to this point, right? There are more than 15 million cosmetic procedures actually done in the US alone. This is actually also counting the non-invasive procedures like botox, filler, etc., which counts for about 13 million. The most popular countries to get plastic surgery done are the USA, Brazil, Mexico, Germany and India. And other destination locations include South Korea, Thailand and Turkey. I'm also not saying that there are more valid or less valid reasons for people to actually have surgery. As we'll be talking about, there are multiple different reasons that people do it. Like heck, when I was in high school and one of my friends in sewing class, she actually had blepharoplasty done, which is eyelid surgery, which actually helped her to be able to see a lot easier as well because it stopped her glasses from pressing on her eyes. So it's like there's multiple reasons, trying to be as judgment free as possible, even though I know that I'm a judgmental Scorpio, you know what I mean. Of course, as with all of my videos, I like to assess the why and how the hell we get out of this hellhole that we're currently in. So that's what this is all about.
Alright, let's see what the final product would give us. Ta-da! Alright, how do we like my Photoshop skills? As we can tell, her jaw is slimmer, her chin is more pointy, and her eyebrows are more lifted, and gotta love that pout.
So let's have a chat about these surgeons on socials. Plastic surgeons and dermatologists have found this wonderful niche for themselves on the internet, on various social media platforms, and it can kind of work as a bit of a portfolio for them for the work that they've done. They can show off their expertise and all this other good stuff. It also helps to normalize plastic surgery and all of the procedures that people can get done, but that's a side issue which we'll be talking about. This can be really handy as an education piece for the people who are actually looking to get surgeries done. I definitely use it. For me, what I did is I watched live surgeries of the procedures that I wanted to get done, but of course with all of these professionals on social media, that leads to this sort of Black Mirror-esque place that we're at right now, where you have people that are able to do thought experiments like this, such as what Miranda Wilson actually did in this TikTok, which everyone blasted her for, everyone hated her for it, because she was doing this thought experiment of, oh, what if we could actually do this stuff to this person, what would make them look better? And everybody was outraged at this one person. However, I just want you to like reflect back on yourself for a second, because people have been doing this for hundreds of years. It's just the fact that there was someone doing it on TikTok, and possibly also a bit of sexism in there, that people have a problem with it because people have been telling others to lose weight, change their hair, change the way that they do their makeup, change their clothes. I mean, heck, we had the whole of the 2000s with people making heaps of profit off that, and also insults like butterface. There is no end to the amount that people will actually tell people directly all the things that they should get done, and also behind their backs. And not even to mention the amount of altering that happens on social media apps such as Facetune, Photoshop, everything else, which people do to themselves and to others before uploading a picture. So is that not saying that people would look better if they looked this way as opposed to how they normally look? Is that not the same thing? I'm just saying, like, this is kind of the progression that we could see happening, really. I'm also not defending this person. Like I said, I like to assess the why and the how, but also Meta and all these other social media platforms, they are very much aware of the mental health issues that actually come from people using Facetune and such, but they don't really want to do anything about it because making people sad makes them not only spend more time on the apps, but makes people spend more money. So where's the incentive? You know, businesses are here just to make money, right? That's what people tell me all the time anytime I criticize a business. Oh. Why are we defending corporations so much? So let's have a chat about my experience, because my skit is not exactly accurate, obviously done for comedic effect here, wow. But what I've actually had done is I've had a fun bag lift, an augmentation, and I've also had a rhinoplasty. All of that was done at the same time as well, and I haven't had other procedures done at all. No filler, no botox, nothing like that, unless you want to count microneedling, which I've had 3 sessions of before we got married. So I've mentioned in the past how bad my ED was at various points in my life, but I haven't really talked about how bad my body dysmorphia was, because I even went through a period where I didn't want to smile because of the way it made my nose look, because I was growing up in the 2000s. I didn't really have access to like phones, and I didn't really have many pictures taken of me and stuff. And I saw a picture of myself when I was actually like properly smiling, and I saw the way it made my nose look, and I was like, ooh, nope, not doing that again. So I became a hashtag sad girl before Tumblr became really big. It's ridiculous looking back at it all now, like, oh my gosh, you're afraid to smile, what the hell. But it wasn't just that, it was multiple things, and obviously, like I said, I got to the point where I would just be willing to hack my body up just to try and reach this, like, not feeling as worthless as I did, which is still something, like, I'm still working on it. Like I said, I've been working hard at this for 7 years. I was approaching and around about 25 when all of this stuff was happening, and of course I would skip the therapy because
what's wrong with me? Ooh, don't open that door.
But anyone that identifies as a female can, I think, relate to this. Like, your bust is such a key part of, like, your self-worth, because we're taught that. And so for me, because I lost so much weight, like, my bust just completely went down. And so I felt, oh, I need to fix that. And also I never really liked the shape, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll get all of this stuff done, everything will be sorted. As I kind of alluded to in the skit, I really punished myself in order to try and be able to meet this goal. I was exercising twice a day, really unhealthy, really delusional. Like, I was constantly in this spiral of, like, self-loathing, and it was really, really unhealthy. And with less weight on me, my nose felt even more prominent than it did before, so of course I was like, I need to get this sorted. So natural course of action was, this is the size that you have to stay for the rest of your life. Shocker, I haven't. I've definitely gained a lot of kgs since then. Now, because I actually got this done in 2015, I didn't even have Instagram at this point in order to be able to, like, see all of the filtered faces and stuff. No, this was just happening from what I could see around me that I felt this bad. So I can't imagine how bad I would have felt growing up in this day and age, honestly. Again, why I always say therapy should be way more accessible than it is. Not only that, but I was using the MyFitnessPal app, which tracks every calorie that you intake and also tracks all of your exercise, and I've got a huge issue with it because it tallies up everything and says, by this date you will weigh this. And it's those sorts of things. I have such a problem with those apps, I really do. So in my appointment with my surgeon, I was very fortunate because they said that I didn't need to get anything done. My bone structure was absolutely fine, my nose suited the shape of my face, but you know, of course I wanted like a tiny little ski slope nose, like a cute little button nose, because I always get like those imprints from sunglasses, which I felt like was me being faulty because I didn't fit the standard. And so I wanted to be able to have like this bridge like cut back and down, and obviously like a nice little swoop. Obviously that couldn't happen because my bone structure, if you look at my profile, it can't even take that. You'd have to like cut all the way down here, and you can't do that. I was effectively wanting them to almost like obliterate my skull to be able to achieve that look. It's completely impossible for me to have like one of those little ski slope noses. So I was like, okay, just make it smaller. Whatever way you can make it smaller, I will take it. Again, this is why I have a lot more compassion for other people, because I know what it's like to feel like dirt. And even after the surgery, I wasn't even like all that happy with the results, because sure, my fun bags were like higher and fuller, but I didn't get like that shape that I wanted to, you know, like that classic, like what's in all media sort of shape, because shockingly there's even a standard that fun bags should be. And I also didn't get the cleavage that I wanted, because shocker, it doesn't matter what you try and do to your fun bags in terms of surgery. It completely depends on where they are placed on your chest to begin with. It depends on the bone structure. So much actually comes into play. So people get like this fixed mindset about what they want. And again, like I said, I've read all of this stuff. I was involved in this life for a good couple of years, and so people always get like, I want this, but then they get something else because they can't actually meet that expectation. But honestly, my surgeon did a great job. The reason that I've actually got this kink in my nose is because Brandon and I used to always do like nose kisses, and one day he came in too hard, and then I also slept on this side, so now I've got this constant kink, which did affect me for a long time. However, I'm at the point where I'm just like, you know what, I don't want to like go through that again, which I'll be talking about. So yeah, I'm just like, this is just how it is now. Full acceptance, whatever. However, for people who haven't travelled for surgery, I do just want to tell you that the travel back was absolutely terrible, because with a broken nose and your chest and stuff, trying to put your luggage up, I had to ask someone else to do it. Also because I was dealing with a severe form of sun poisoning from the day before, and I don't know if you've ever thrown up with a broken nose which you can't breathe out of, and also like your entire chest is like scarred up with fresh scars, but that really hurts. But you know, like The leader of the tour was just like, you just need to suck it up, like you're totally fine, it's just sun poisoning, here's some anti-nausea pills, there you go. By the way, I also tried to look up that company. It looks like it shut down in 2020, so I couldn't find anything included in their website. So now the thing is that I did actually feel pretty great about myself post-surgery. However, just a few short months later, that sexual harassment happened that just like screwed up my entire life completely. So any long-lasting effects about positivity about my body, gone. Now I also want to say, because I did go on this medical tourism thing with a whole bunch of strangers I'd never met before, but the thing is that all of them were really nice, and people always like to think about people that get plastic surgery as being completely vapid and stuff and just terrible people. None of them were wannabe influencers or anything like that. Most of the girls that I went with, they actually had an augmentation as opposed to a lift and augmentation. The lift and augmentation is a lot harder to recover from, which is probably why I felt so bad, along with having my face broken. There was one woman who had a facelift and one who actually had like skin removal because she had lost a lot of weight. But they were all lovely. Like, there were a couple of the mums that actually came on tour with them for like emotional support. A lot of them were actually young mums, and I was staying in the room because you shared your accommodation, but I was staying in a room with two young mums, honestly lovely people. I was just there with all of my notes on recovery, all of my pills to take, along with anything that I could do to like heal faster, just watching Once Upon a Time and Parks and Recreation on loop, feeling sorry for myself. But they were all really nice people just looking for a way to feel better. Like, I really don't like the shaming that happens to people. Surgeons and specialists pushing people further. Now, I got really fortunate with my surgeon because they were incredibly realistic, they were really nice and caring, but I've had people reach out to me because of those Instagram polls that I did, saying that when they went to go and get filler, someone was actually recommended, oh, you just need to go get plastic surgery for this, like, filler won't do anything, whatever, just go get sliced up straight away. And when trying to get a certain amount of lip filler put in, just like a really small amount, no, you need to go way higher. It shouldn't be common for people to be pushing like more and more things onto you, but it can happen sometimes. And when people are already in a vulnerable state, to be able to go there to begin with because they want to have something fixed about themselves, I don't like this sort of predatory behavior. And I also know of a plastic surgeon here in Aotearoa who, whenever they do a augmentation, they want people to look like they've got rock melons on their chest. So it's like it's really bad how it sort of varies like that, which is why it's very important that people actually share their experiences on those forums and stuff. It just makes me really angry when there are people that take advantage of others like this. Mocking botched surgery or overfilling. This I have a huge problem with. I know that people will say rich people problems, blah 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 blah. Okay, cool, thanks for minimizing people's actual pain and struggles. Do you feel better about yourself now? Cool. But honestly, it's mocking someone for their looks again, and what do we not do on this channel? Well, that. Now, people go into the knife or needle for various reasons, but it's normally to fix an insecurity that they've got about themselves. Whether it's due to bullying they got in their childhood, whether it's due to multiple issues, it could be birth defects, could be anything, or it could just be like them not liking this thing about themselves and then wanting to get it fixed. Or heck, even for their jobs, as a lot of people in Hollywood will happily tell you. You know what I hate, which is a strong word for me to use, is the pillow filter. I hate this so much. We already have filters that have made body dysmorphia that much worse and more prevalent for people. And then there was this filter designed specifically to mock the people that were actually trying to deal with their insecurities and do something about it because people were probably bullying them and they felt terrible about themselves. And then this filter is created to take the mick out of them and destroy them more. Really high level thinking there, my dude. Do you feel proud of yourself? Great. I hope you don't. Botched surgeries literally kill people. They leave them disfigured or scarred for life and having to have more operations in order to deal with them. The ramifications are huge. The issue with body dysmorphia as well is you don't actually quite realize if you've overfilled or something, and the fact of the matter is that you still have people that are willing to do these operations on people when they don't need it anymore. But the thing is again, that people will search around trying to find someone else that will do it, and you get the worse and worse doctors that are willing to do that for that sweet, sweet cash. It's a very worrying problem, honestly. Do you not remember the Botched TV show that gained popularity in the 2000s, where they would bring people on who had suffered from botched surgeries and they were going to fix them for them? So charitable, hey? But not before mocking them beforehand and making them feel terrible. That's great. So wonderful. Oh look, we've still got some of those surgeons that are still famous today.
Humor based on my pain.
Luckily, most of you who actually answered my questions in my Instagram stories, you were incredibly empathetic to the people, you felt sorry for them. I mean, like, someone brought up Meg Ryan, and I remember because she was splashed all over the place because she had ruined her face by getting this surgery done, which is awful thing to say. There are a lot of stars who have had botched surgeries. Linda Evangelista, actually, the supermodel from the 90s, came out very recently with her struggles with having botched surgery done. But then also there's this sort of thing of mocking people of the older generation of Hollywood who obviously got their surgeries done earlier when things weren't as progressed as they are today, and so because they've had facelifts and fillers and cheek implants and whatever, people laugh at like their doughy faces and all that stuff. Like people like Priscilla Presley, Dolly Parton, Joan Rivers, Cher and Courtney Cox, just to name a few. Honestly, the list could go on forever. But notice how a lot of this is absolutely like berating women for the way that they look. Yeah. Great, isn't it? The reason that these people even got surgeries done to begin with is because Hollywood is like an amplifier for all of the worst parts of society, and they just make it 10 times worse. So of course these people would be getting these surgeries done in order to try and be able to maintain the jobs that they need to get in order to maintain relevance, because that must be a high that you're constantly trying to chase. So why do people do it? Keeping age off for longer, because, you know, it's very important to defy age, as is always told to us through every advertisement ever, because we've been taught that wrinkles are bad or reflective of old mindsets, undesirability. People say that they want to feel like themselves again, and wrinkles and signs of aging don't reflect that. Why can't we see ourselves age as being part of who we are, is what I want to know. Do people think that when you turn 50, suddenly, poof, you're the Golden Girls? Which, by the way, they were all meant to be in their 50s. What?
Whoa! Well, at least I'm not bitter.
I've spoken about this in my Pretty Privilege videos, ageism, and also my clean beauty rant, with this expectation of a certain kind of beauty being like what people should always attain for. Obviously I can only speak to American, Kiwi and British standards because I can't speak to the standards around the rest of the world here. But women are taught from youth that prettiness and youth are the most important things that they can have. I mean, have you ever heard of a pop song that actually like sings about how someone is just a beautiful soul? No, I don't think even in that song it was just about being a beautiful soul. I want you and your beautiful soul. And is there any incentive to change this? No. I don't think that the surgeons, dermatologists, or the multi-billion-dollar beauty industry actually wants people to just embrace who they are naturally. Body dysmorphic disorder affects 1 in 50 Americans that have been diagnosed with it. It's not just something about vanity, it's actually very debilitating, and I've read a number of studies about it, which again are linked below, and also other articles, and hi, I've dealt with it. It's pretty serious, especially when you see like the associated links. Yeah, it's not something to just be like, oh, it's nothing. Part of me does wonder if like the increase of plastic surgery actually comes down to a combined effect of a number of things, such as being in the dating pool for longer because we rightly not willing to settle for less, which is a good thing, or even just not wanting to settle down at all and not wanting to get married, which is entirely valid too. And then you add on this social media presence where everyone can be a star, which really just means that everyone can be seen and judged, and it's easier to compare yourself to countless people across the world who your age or younger who are more successful and hotter than you, and how aging is seen as something to defy, and people want to look like JLo at 52 because they think that that is completely achievable. And because we've placed female beauty on such a high level of worth in terms of our social currency, that people think that this is their only option. A lot of people actually getting plastic surgery now are boomers because they've gotten divorced or something and they feel like their market value has dropped because they don't look the same way that other people do. Plus, we live under patriarchy, I will always remind you of this, and so the beauty standards are actually set by men. And what do men want? As has been proven time and again by studies, they want women that are younger. Ideal age is below 25. Imagine why that could be. I wonder, huh? And not to mention this whole disturbing messaging around like, oh, men cheat because their woman wasn't trying hard enough for them anymore. Like, okay, cool, let's just get rid of like open and honest conversation between partners, like people actually going to therapy together, or possibly in this case, the man actually going to therapy for the issues which has gotten him to the point where he thinks that cheating is the best thing to do. You know, we love this victim blaming and cowardice approach. Let's just blame the wife. This makes perfect sense. The fashion cycle, because yeah, I want to talk about this. The thing is that surgery is permanent, but bodies actually go through this trend cycle, which used to be 10 years, but the cycle is getting shorter now. But you know, there are looks for each decade, right? Like I talked about in my Jane Fonda video, which I still want everyone to watch because I really like that video. In the 80s, it was a toned and busty look. In the 90s, we had heroin chic. In the 2000s, it was skinny, tanned with big boobs. In the early 2010s, it was a thigh gap look. In the later 2010s, it was a slim, thick look. And we're leaving the BBL movement now to head into what I predict for the 2020s, which will be more akin to what they had in the 1980s, because we've got this quote-unquote wellness movement where people are self-improving themselves, not at all in a way for I don't know, appeasing the male gaze at all, but I think that we'll see people that are athletic and curvy. So you will get like bigger boobs and bums, but not like quite to the Jessica Rabbit degree, but you'll see like ab lines, but not too muscly. But the 2020s I don't see as being a decade where everyone's beautiful in their own way and actually accepting of all different body types and abilities. I sadly really do not see that, despite what a lot of people in their grassroots movements are trying to do. As for faces, the popular faces across the decades have been fairly similar. You want symmetry, you want large eyes, you want a smaller nose. Sometimes the jaw lines can change a little bit, but it's typically a very feminine looking face. And we've seen this transform over the years to then have like the typical ski slope nose that I desperately wanted. Still part of me does want it, but you know, fight against that every day. And we've obviously borrowed things like having fuller lips, which people used to be mocked for, and now we've still got this fox eye trend going on, which again is just fetishizing people from Asian countries, which has a lot of issues with it. And I see makeup artists doing this as well with the tape, and they pull the skin back to give this angular look, and it's like, honey sweetie boo boo, like you can actually create a swooped up look with just eyeshadow by itself. As you can see, I'm not wearing any tape or anything like that. I just used, I don't know, eyeshadow. But it really does worry me that trends have gone beyond like fabric, makeup and hairstyles to literally be people having to like take needles and knives to their bodies to be able to achieve this look. Like that is worrying, because the EDs were bad enough, but now we're actually including utensils. Like that's scary to me. But the thing is, not only is this person left thousands of dollars in debt, but then they've got this recovery, and then they're stuck afterwards with a body that will be out of vogue in a few short years because the cycles are getting shorter. Like the 2010s is 2 distinct looks, and it used to just be like an entire decade. So this is worrying. Let's have a chat about this cost of upkeep. Getting one procedure doesn't fix a person for life, as we've talked about, because you need to have like these ongoing sessions. There is actually a difference between those wrinkle types, as many plastic surgeons and dermatologists will actually tell you here on YouTube for free, as they have these wonderful shiny faces. You want to have some movement, but not too much movement. And also because the thing is, as each year passes, your body changes after the surgery. You'll never look the exact same that you did after the surgery, so it's very easy to then fixate on other parts of your body that you need to fix up. And of course, just going for a little top up. Botox and such, I was actually watching some people because I've never gone for it myself, so it can be anywhere around about $400 for like a regular sort of session. Obviously it depends on how much and who you're going to, but for someone that is actually quite qualified, who hopefully you'd want to be injecting poison into your face for, you know, you'd want to go to someone that's actually qualified. It can cost $400, and then you have to go to them about like 4 times a year. So you either have to have an incredibly good job, or you just have to have no retirement fund. Like, especially when you add it all up across all of that time, it's a lot. Because as well, what people can find, which again I've watched videos from plastic surgeons talk about, is people can become disillusioned because it doesn't look as good now, because obviously time passes, your body changes as time passes. This is just naturally what happens. And as I mentioned, with a fun bag surgery, you actually have to have that replaced or removed after 10 to 15 years, maybe up to 20 years. It really is a costly enterprise to keep torturing your body this way in order to be able to maintain relevance or attractiveness, because again, getting older or things drooping or whatever is always seen as like, even the word drooping, people are like, oh, I'm like that about it. That's what I mean. It's like the adjectives that we use for aging are not attractive because we've made them sound not attractive. False advertising. Now, you may disagree with this, but this is my own hot take. Welcome to my channel. So you know how there are some wannabe alpha males that always say, take her swimming on a first date, see how she really looks. It's like, okay, cool. I didn't do this for you, Chad. You think that you're going to appreciate this fine detail work in diamantes? No, because apparently makeup is a lie, which is something that Jordan Peterson still believes in. Well, when it comes to anti-aging products, I kind of agree. Okay, hear me out. So I talked about this in my Jane Fonda video with her long-term relationship with L'Oreal, which, you know, fine, dandy, all that good stuff, but she's been advertising all of their anti-age stuff for years at this point, like well over a decade, because I remember growing up with their advertising. But the thing is that she's had multiple plastic surgeries done, and we don't know about the non-invasive procedures because people don't typically ask about that, but she's definitely had a number of plastic surgeries done. But of course the illusion is that she actually looks this good at 84 because of using the L'Oreal stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, this is a lie? This is, no. So in my books, I don't think that we should have companies employ people who have actually gone into the knife or had filler or Botox or anything like that in order to be able to advertise anti-aging products or like skincare at all. I just don't think that we should have that because we need to be able to give people realistic expectations about what products can do, which is one of the reasons why influencers grew to begin with, was because people want to see how the products actually work for real people, because we got so over this view of seeing everyone airbrushed all over the place. That was very much a big thing in the 2000s, tear down these expectations of what these billboards and advertisements were actually pushing forward. But then of course you make more money if you look perfect, so that's how you get from like this to authenticity to then this. It will just naturally happen, which is frustrating. I mean, like, heck, I've done skincare reviews and it's like, if you've seen my skin, you know that I do not have good skin, but like I've still given my honest opinions on things and companies don't really like it because I try things out for a while and I'm not always very positive about them. You may be typing up right now, oh, but it's mean to do that to the models, don't you think about them? And it's like, this is an advertisement for a product. If the product doesn't work, what's the problem? Like, this should not be about the model, because you've already got multiple other factors that actually contribute to how someone ages, whether it is location and where they live, exposure to pollution, whether they use sun cream all the time, their diet, their genes, if they have hormone replacement therapy. There are a number of other things that people can do other than just going under the knife or needle. Yeah, and it's like, why are you trying to take the side of the companies again? We fought against 20-year-olds wearing an age cream and saying like, oh, look how great and plump my skin looks. Like, of course your skin looks great at 20. Like, you've got heaps of collagen in it. You want to see it on people in their 60s and stuff to see how it's worked for them for a long period of time. It just bothers me. So for me personally, I don't think that people that have had those procedures done should be employed by the companies. Don't forget, it's the companies that are the ones that are employing these people. So it shouldn't be the people that are shamed. It's the companies for consistently platforming these faces that we're meant to be aiming to look like. That's the thing that I've got a problem with. Not the people themselves, the companies. So after this huge video that I originally wanted to be 30 minutes long, will I be having plastic surgery again? Well, obviously, yeah, I have to have plastic surgery again. So in like 7 to 10 years time, I'll need to actually have my fun bags like worked on again in order to like remove or replace them. But as far as I'm concerned, because I've thought about this a lot, in 10 years what will the world be like with the climate crisis? I think I'm just going to be going for a removal and a lift at that point, because obviously I don't really want to have like the spare skin. It just makes sense to get a lift since they'll already be doing that stuff anyway. But I spoke about this with Brandon as well. He doesn't care what I do, by the way. He just wants me to be happy, which is like oh, with my mental health, wow. But by that point I'll definitely have more wrinkles in place, and so I know, because of my already like body dysmorphia issues that I've been dealing with for decades at this point, that will be seeping into me to be like, oh, you could just get like a little facelift at this point, since you're already going under the knife and that's already risky enough. Why not just like add this extra thing on? And I don't know if I'm going to fall prey to that. I hope not, because I really want to actually increase the view of people that are just naturally aging, because I think that that is something that is still missing despite some people trying to push it that way. Like, if I fell prey to it, then what sort of like role model would I be? Not that I'm a role model, The reason I wanted to be able to make this video to begin with was to highlight the issues around the normalization of surgery and the body dysmorphia aspect of it, which I think really does get overlooked a lot. I still have to consciously do a number of things to make sure that I'm not triggered by my old mindsets. It's like, oh, I can't watch Love Island, for example. I refuse to actually talk to people about weight loss and stuff, and if people want to be complimented on their weight loss, I don't say anything. I just say that I'm happy that you're happy. Like, there's a number of things that I've put in place to make sure that I don't succumb to my severe feelings of unworthiness. And again, it's why I've gone back into therapy as well, because I've been having some other issues. But when it does come time for me to get that plastic surgery, I probably will be getting tempted, because I still don't like the look of like deep set lines and jowls and stuff, which is something that I need to work on, and something that society as a whole needs to work on, honestly, because it's just a natural part of aging. But we've been taught like, oh, we just want to see these smooth, poreless faces, and that's not practical, that's not reality. And I kind of want to be part of like helping people veer away from that sort of mindset. I just don't want to go through life feeling like I can't smile in order to not get crow's feet, you know, and just feel so... Now, I also asked people in my Instagram stories what they thought would happen to plastic surgery going forwards, if you think it's gonna change and all of that good stuff. So to me, at least, with the way that the world will look in about 20 years, I think that plastic surgery will really just be for the super rich, honestly, because honestly we've got the water wars on their way. We have situations with extreme climate change that we're facing down. Like I said, my husband is a civil engineer, so he's heavily involved in this stuff. I don't really think that people will be able to go getting plastic surgery and procedures as willy-nilly as they are today. I don't really think it's going to be accessible to the majority of people. It really will be more the 1%, which leads me on to the comment that someone actually said, I think it will get to the point of like the Capitol from the Hunger Games. And I kind of love that. With the way of the wealth inequality gap growing, it could possibly happen. So who knows? Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. There are resources in the description box if you need them. And if you made it all the way to the end, please leave the mirror and a smiling emoji, because no one should be afraid to smile. Genuinely, like, it's a good thing. It's not something that people should be afraid of, which is something I have to remind myself of all the time. So yes, I hope you found this entertaining, informative, helpful, something, and I will see you again next time. Bye. Pixie.